Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to say thanks for inviting me here and to have a speech on such a bright audience. And unfortunately, you are not in one of the Adnet Media segments. But I hope in the future, who knows, you may be in. So who is the Adnet Media and what we are doing in life? So like the presenter said, we started from Lithuania in 2001. And after that, we expanded in the whole Baltic states. I mean Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. And on these countries, we are achieving about 90, 80, and 70% of the whole internet reach. And we are the part of the Express Media group. Express Media is the OMX Nasdaq listed company, which also owns the biggest news portals Delphi in the Baltics. And we are working with them like brother and sister, brother and brother, and so on. So who are our publishers? We are working with a variety of the sites, and starting from the news portal, having a lot of, let's say, women magazines, online versions, receipt sites, social media sites, even the electronic diary sites. So we are gathering all these data and we're providing all our services to these publishers all together. Operating like a sales house, operating like an analytics team, operating like programmatic partners for these publishers' inventory. So we are doing probably all services or the full services for all our publishers. Speaking particularly from the country where we started, about Lithuania, because we are managing about, let's say, 2/3 of the whole top 30 most popular websites in Lithuania, and all these sites are marked green in my slides, so we are expecting really large pool of the whole, let's say, internet population under our supervision. And like I mentioned in my previous slides, it's definitely exceeding 95% of the, let's say, Lithuania people who are browsing online. So we even can be really proud of ourselves, and we can say like Google or Facebook that we are the internet there. So like I mentioned, because we're doing a whole variety of services for our publishers, and one of our newest, I will call it a toy, is the data management platform. And like you, we have had a lot of questions before going in with the DMP, and I simply figured out 5 key points, and the 6th is in my mind, but I will really explain it. Because definitely, let's say, the most important thing is the more sellable audiences to the advertisers. Because, for example, it simply allows you to scale on the manner you would like to scale, and you simply have a better results. For example, the typical examples are like legacy or traditional advertising, typically used lifestyle magazines or, let's say, women section to reach women online. And the traditional method to reach, let's say, men online was on the, let's say, upcoming or already ending Winter Olympic Games. And most probably you would be able to target men there. But the mathematical question still appears. Half of the budget is spent somewhere, and you don't know where. With the DMP, you don't care anymore about it, because you simply target and reaching women and men's online separately, no matter what they are reading, what they are visiting, from which device they are browsing, or let's say what kind of section they are reading. The second point is that definitely for the publishers, it allows to enlarge your CPM which from the publishing side is always too low and from the buyer side is always too high. But having a better quality definitely allows for the publishers to increase the price. In our case in the Baltics, we are able to achieve, let's say, starting from 20 up to 50% higher CPMs for the DMP targeted segments. Despite all these things that are related with advertising, it also allows for the publishers to have an insight how to drive the audience that he is lacking on. And let's say he is able, or publishers are able to acquire the new segments with, let's say, with the audiences they are lacking of, or simply expanding the, let's say, the lowest ones. It also allows to optimize website performance because you're seeing what is working and what it don't. And it simply allows you to have the core component with the DMP to have all these insights that are coming from. And one point is the data sharing, because despite we are having a lot of audience online, we are always lacking of the data. One of our goals, let's say, and the project is in the progress, is to have integrated one of the biggest e-commerce sites in the Baltics into our DMP system and to share the data. It would allow our cookies visitors, or call it whatever you like, to have more attributes, and we would know more who they are in which, let's say, parts they're interested more, and so on, because, let's say, there is no end for data, and you can always need to have a better quality data. And the sixth point that I promised to tell about is simply the survivors thing. Google and Facebook is doing that for years, and Google is having Gmail for the login system, and Facebook has his own login system. And they know audiences very well, and typically publishers don't have the login systems on their site, and they need to do something, let's say, not to be left alone in this internet world. So to have a DMP is the must thing and not an optional anymore. So our case, we chose C-Sense as our partner in data management platform. One of the cases is the transparency and the clearance of the C-Sense. I can tell that there was a competition between, let's say, in the final there were 3 companies, but C-Sense proved themselves because they are really, let's say, standing behind the words. Because the price model was based on page use, and the page use is, let's say, the thing that you can simply count on your own, and you don't need, let's say, to count all the different events when other providers are, let's say, looking for. Because most probably nobody of you knows how many read, writes, or updates events you have on your website. So it's almost, if the price is based on that model, is almost unable to calculate the price. So our core system was built on C-Sense, and we integrated everything what we had into that one. So in the whole Baltics, we integrated the biggest publishers like Delphi, and we put all our network data also there. Despite we were able to have all these lifestyle interest segments based on our content that we are, let's say, operating on, we needed the social demographic data, and we partnered with the subcontractor Enreach, who provided socio-demographical profiles for our users. There were 2 options how to do this. The first one was, let's say, to create an online questionnaires, and the second one is to have a let's say, people pool panel from which you are collecting data and you are looking into that like the truth set. And from there, we were able, let's say, to extend our lifestyle interests with the social demographical data. And we were able to construct, let's say, any custom segment, the advertiser, the customer, or whatever, let's say, client would like. Right now, we are able, let's say, to produce the 25+ woman who has a university degree, who is, let's say, is married or not married, who is interested in active others, who is using mobile phone, iPhone 7, let's say, for example, who lives in Bucharest and who visits your sites 3 times per day. All these custom segments, let's say, are created like the C-Sense is demonstrated with very easy mouse operating, let's say, pop-up buttons. So when you will start working with you, I really invite you the first steps, let's say, of the joy that you would be able to create by yourself. And let's go to the couple of our real-life examples that we were able to produce on our network. The first customer is the Žemaitijos Pienas. It's the, let's say, milk company who was doing one of his branded Džiugas cheese Christmas campaign. And typically, let's say it was a pure, simple leaderboard banner, and typically CTR was about 0.25% from the whole campaign. In coming with, let's say, extending or providing better data with the high-income data, because, let's say, we had a target to reach, let's say, the highest earning people. It allowed us to increase our CTRs to the 0.32. So even, let's say, speaking from the average campaign, we increased just on a very basic level, simply adding one of the segments of our DMP system. Another thing was the eye laser corrections company, laser eye surgery, because we tracked all our content with the keywords like eye surgery and similars, and we used the same format. So in average, we had in the past about 1% of the CTR there, and it simply increased to the 1.42% of CTR, simply adding another segment or creating a better quality for our customer. For one of our international companies, let's say we made a Turkish Airlines winter sales with having the social demo segments, like we targeted travel enthusiasts from, let's say, one of the standard and reach and C-Sense segments. And comparing apple to apple, we also had, let's say, increasing campaign results from 1% CTR to the 3.14% of CTR. So it definitely shows all these examples that the better targeting you achieve, the better results you get. And one of the, let's say, erotic campaigns on our group, because it was a simply erotic e-shop. And definitely we had a big challenge not to show, let's say, these ads to the younger people who would not be allowed to buy anyway these toys. And it also increased all our, let's say, campaign results from 0.15% to the 0.83 or even more to the 0.98. So definitely working with the audience segments you are getting in your DMP system also, it definitely increases all the results. So I would be able to provide even more campaigns, and I can talk for about an hour and even longer, but I think it's better to try by yourselves. So one of the last, our example, let's say, is the retirement home promo. We will also added one of our segments there, and let's say we achieved even better results than the AdWords were doing on this particular campaign. Simply we used all these keywords that were available on our platform, and we simply added, let's say, the age group, because younger people most probably are not interested in the retirement pension funds or something like this. And we also increased all these campaigns results. So guys, try by yourselves, and if you have some questions, I will be glad to answer them. Thank you.